What's going on, guys? It's Patrick here, and welcome back to a not top 5, but actually, ladies and gentlemen, a top 10. And more specifically, guys, today we're going to be looking at the top 10 explosive weapons in Call of Duty Zombies. Now, with the release of Black Ops 3, there has been so much new content added to Zombies, and I've had a ton of people asking me, like, Patrick, you need to go back and basically redo a lot of your top 5 lists. But the problem is nowadays there's too much content to fit that all into a top 5 list. So what I'm thinking of doing, guys, throughout this summer is I want to go back and I want to redo a lot of these lists, but do them in top 10 format. So you guys are going to see a lot of top 5s from me this summer, but I'm also going to be trying to include a lot of top 10s as well to just kind of juggle and balance that sort of mix. Also, I'm really close to 100,000 followers on Instagram, so like if you want to follow me, you know, link down there. But anyways, guys, let's get into it. So this is going to be a list composed of primary explosive weapons. So no, we're not talking like frag grenades, semtex, monkey bombs, nothing like that, but actual guns. And the other thing is we're not going to be including like wonder weapons that have splash damage, like the ray gun, for example, which technically splash damage is like explosive damage, but the ray gun is a wonder weapon, not an explosive gun that would shoot grenades or rockets. Anyways though, guys, coming in at our number 10 spot, this is going to be the Skull Crusher. Now, the Skull Crusher is the PackAPunched M16 in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. In Black Ops 3, it became the Skull Piercer, and it lost its explosive attachment. You guys know where I'm getting at, right? The Noob Tube. So basically, this is I'm pretty sure the only gun, or maybe one of 2 guns in all of Call of Duty Zombies that had a Noob Tube on it. Like originally, it was Keener or Toten. You buy the M16 off the wall, you PackAPunch it, you get the gun, and then it's got an underbarrel attachment for the Noob Tube. It wasn't the best, let's be honest. I think it was a 600 damage overall, which is like kind of good for an explosive weapon, but really not all that great. But the thing is it was cool. And more than that, it was a noob tube. It reminded me of Modern Warfare 2. That was a big thing for it. And anyways, guys, the Skull Crusher was definitely an interesting explosive weapon. It comes in at number 10. Number 9, the Panzerschreck. So the Panzerschreck is like the OG rocket launcher of Call of Duty Zombies. It was the first ever, and it was a tank, man. This thing was beefy, it was powerful, and 9 times out of 10, it would get you killed. Now, once they introduced Jug into World at War, like I'm not gonna tell them this thing was just not an option. It only had 4 rockets, it ran out of ammo, but as soon as they beefed it up, you got to Derice, that's when it actually got fairly good, because on Derice, you could PackAPunch this bad boy. It went from 600 damage to 1,000, which is pretty good. 3 shots in the magazine, and it was automatic. So you could go bang, bang, bang with your rocket, and it did a pretty good amount of damage. Now, obviously, the Longinus, which is what the PackAPunch version is called, wasn't an optimal gun to use in your game of Derice, but still. At a time where PhD Flopper didn't exist, it was the best of many, many bad explosive weapons. Number 8, the joke of the Zombies community, the War Machine. Okay, the War Machine is a piece of garbage, I know, and you're like, why the heck is it on the list? But it's on the list because of its PackAPunch version, the Dystopic Demolisher. The Dystopic Demolisher is basically what the War Machine should have been non-PackAPunch. Basically, the normal War Machine shoots grenades, but they don't explode on impact. So basically, you've just got grenades scattered around the map until they explode. It's terrible, we all know that. But the Dystopic Demolisher is actually direct impact explosions. So, you shoot into a horde, it goes boom. It's not the best wonder weapon, but it is overall pretty cool. It's got a quite large splash damage. Overall, though, it's not the best weapon, it's not the worst weapon, it's just the War Machine. And for what it is non-upgraded, I think it's pretty good once you PackAPunch it. Number 7, the C3000 biatches. Okay, so there's probably a lot of people thinking, what the heck is Patrick talking about, and what is this gun? But the C3000 biatches is a classic from World at War. Only ever introduced and featured on one map, Derice. You get the Colt. It's what you spawn in with. You run, you put it in the PackAPunch machine, you get it out, and it's not Mustang and Sally's. This was the OG version of that. It was a single grenade pistol. So you don't have 2 running around, you just have 1. And it really wasn't all that great, especially on Derice where, you just don't have PhD explosives did a lot more damage to the player back in the day. It really wasn't the most optimal gun to run, but it was lightweight and it did a lot of damage. You know, if you really wanted to be ballsy, to be quite honest, it was a good gun to run. And more than that, it was the OG Mustang Sally. So we had to put it on this list. Number 6, the XM53. Now, I really don't have a lot to say about this gun. It was disappointing for Black Ops 3. Like, all the guns were so upgraded. The shotguns were better. The snipers were better. But the XM53 was not as good as it could have been. Now, on one side, it's one of the highest damaging launchers. Actually, the most highest damaging launcher in all of zombies. But the problem with it is it only has 2 rockets per mag when upgraded. So you go shot, then you have to reload. So it does a lot of damage, but you gotta reload all the time. And it's just really not a fun weapon to use. That, plus it's Black Ops 3. Like, there's so many good options. I like it, and I think the PackAPunch XM53 is really good, but I just think it could have been a lot better. Either way, it's an overall good gun to use. Very, very good on Der Eisendrache for the Panzers in the boss fight. It comes in at number 6. Number 5, the good old L4 Siege. Dude, this is one of my favorite guns now in Black Ops 3. The L4 Siege is, I don't even know what you call this thing. Upgraded, it's the L8 Circus. And on Gorod, this thing is an absolute beast. It shoots rockets. It's great for the boss fight. It's good against manglers. And honestly, overall, it's even just good against normal zombies. Like, this thing is an absolute tank. And just the funness of using it, coupled with actually it being a good and usable weapon, makes for a great time, makes for an interesting experience, and overall, it had to be on this list. Comes in at number 5. But there is one normal weapon that is better than all of the ones we have just gone down to. Coming in at number 4, ladies and gentlemen, we have the RPG. PackAPunched. This thing is the best normal weapon, as far as explosives go anyways. So the RPG, it's okay. It's a Black Ops 2 gun. You've seen this thing shoot. But as soon as you PackAPunch the RPG, it becomes a death machine of death. Yeah. Okay, maybe not the best words. Maybe not the best language usage there. But what I mean by that is this thing is insane. So PackAPunch, per shot, it does 1,000 damage, which is pretty good for an explosive weapon, as we've seen throughout the other ones. However, the thing that makes this so good is it has 8 shots in the mag, which doesn't even make sense. I don't know Treyarch logic how an RPG can shoot 8 in a row, but it shoots automatic. So you point this thing at a horde of zombies, you go shot. Everything is now dead. 8,000 total damage after this thing is done. That almost compares to our number 1 spot on the list, which I'll get to in a sec. Anyways, the RPG is my personal favorite explosive weapon in all of Call of Duty Zombies. But that being said, it only comes in at number 4 because there are 3 weapons that are technically better. At number 3, guys, we have the Wrath of the Ancients. Now, the Wrath of the Ancients is technically an explosive weapon, and I know it's a wonder weapon. I said we weren't going to have, like, splash damagey wonder weapons on it, but there are some wonder weapons that are actually explosive, and the Wrath of the Ancients is one. The ray gun, it's not really an explosive weapon. It does splash damage, but the Wrath of the Ancients, this thing is an explosive weapon, and there's one main reason why this thing is so good. It doesn't do damage to the player. It's the only explosive weapon to ever exist that doesn't do damage to the player. And for that reason, it had to be high ranking. So, you're cornered into zombies. All you got to do is shoot it at the ground. Everything around you is going to die because of that great splash damage, but it doesn't hurt you. You get trapped in a corner with a ray gun, good luck. But you get trapped in a corner with the Wrath of the Ancients, you're in great shape. It does quite a bit of damage, and obviously you can then upgrade it and it becomes a killing machine of death again. Overall, though, the Wrath of the Ancients bow, Der Eisendrache, it's a good gun. Had to put it, actually, it's not a gun at all, but we did have to put it in on this list. Number 2, Mustang and Sally. Have you ever heard of that? I guess we could also say Meat Wagon. I guess we could also say Death to Taxes. But at number 2, we have the PackAPunched Colt / whatever starting pistol that becomes awesome. we're going to go with Mustang Sally. The Mustang Sally is a classic. I don't think anyone expected it to not be on this list because it is just so good. It's a dual-wield explosive pistol. In Black Ops 1, it's one of the best guns in all of that game due to the fact that you actually have PhD. It's almost a little bit overpowered, to be completely honest. You know, you got the amazing mobility of pistols, but then the crazy damage of explosives plus the splash damage minus the player damage. It's just an insane weapon to use. It's been a classic in zombies since Black Ops 1, and if we didn't put it on this list, I think we would have a riot, so it comes in at number 2. But coming in at number 1 on our list, there is one explosive weapon that is better than all of these, and people are like, what? How could there be anything better than my beloved Mustang Sally? I have such a boner for that. The zombies community truly has a boner for the Mustang Sally. But there is one explosive weapon that is so much better than the Mustang Sally. Like, why does this gun not get enough love? The Scavenger. Have you seen this thing before? Have you seen this thing in action? The Mustang Sally per grenade does 1,000. The Scavenger does 11,500 damage. Unpack-a-punched. Once you pack-a-punch this thing, every single shot does 2,300 points of damage. In comparison, one shot of a ray gun is 1,000. We've seen all the other guns before. Nothing even comes close to this weapon. Pack-a-punched, it's got 36 shots total, and this thing is just a savage. Now, yes, you do definitely want PhD to use it, and yes, it's got a slow sort of fire, like you shoot it, takes a few seconds to actually explode, but when that explosion goes off, you're going to be able to count on the fact that nothing is going to be alive. Maybe not even George. It's probably going to kill George too, to be completely honest. In solo, it takes 11 shots with this gun Pack-a-Punch to kill him. Do you understand how much sheer damage this thing puts out? It is an absolute savage of a weapon. And if I didn't put it on the list, I would be mad at myself, guys. It has to come in at number 1. Now, there's 2 other guns I know. Obviously, the ray gun is kind of an explosive weapon, so I got to give a little shout out to that. The other gun is the vitrolic withering, which is kind of an explosive weapon, but again, it's not quite what I was looking for on this list. It would be up at like number 1 or 2 if we were going to include it, but I decided not to. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and again, hey, if you want to, go follow me on Instagram because I'm really close to 100,000 followers, and I'm going to post something really cool once I get there. Anyways, though, guys, thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you again with some more top 5s, some more top 10s. Peace out, you freaking nerds.